In a world first, a robot is to perform alongside the high-tech global orchestra at the Sydney Opera House this week.
There'll even be a chance for audience members to be part of the show and take over from the robot, we imagine. Our reporter Mark Reddie caught up with robot Baxter at rehearsals over the weekend.
Well, we often hear that robots are eventually going to take our jobs, and now they're taking over the music scene. This is Baxter, and he'll be performing at the Sydney Opera House on Wednesday. Joining me now is the Artistic Director of the Global Orchestra, Charlie Chan. Charlie, start by telling us, how did you meet Baxter?
So I saw him on the internet and then I went, what an amazing robot, because you can move his arms around and he remembers where to go, and then he basically does the same thing over and over again, which sounds a bit boring, but I thought, what could you do with it if you actually send it music? Because it can like repeat all these motions and do all these interesting things. So
it was like a successful online date.
I guess you could say that, yeah, definitely. We've rescued him from a life of servitude. He's like a puppy rescue. And
you saved him.
We saved him from himself, from his life, and now we've given him a new life where he can be creative, which is ironic in a way.
And what role will he be playing in Wednesday's performance?
So Baxter's got a fantastic solo that he's currently still learning. He's burning the midnight oil. He's trying very hard to learn this solo, and his performance is going to be with a very large ensemble. I think he's going to end up going crazy and taking over the whole thing. You know, like we've always got this idea that the robot might take over and do something crazy. I think Baxter might even get there. The great thing about it is that the audience is going to feel like they're part of what's going on.
Just talk us through how exactly they'll be able to interact with Baxter.
I can't give too many things away, but basically they'll use their phones. They've got a light on their phone and they'll be able to point the light at Baxter. Baxter's got a camera on him. He'll receive that data and then that will tell him to do something. So that's my little teaser within that. There are other things you can do as well, not just Baxter. You can also control the lights, the audio. There are other things that we want them to control, and the actual outcome and the order of some of the solos and the performance. This is the future of, music and performance in a way, the whole level of interactivity that's never been done before.
Where has your love for technology and music come from?
I was one of those lonely nerd children who used to sit at home with a computer and write code. So I used to write games.
Well, that's very important these days. Everyone's coding.
Everybody's coding, except I coded out of it for a reason. Like, my parents didn't have much money, and so we had the computer, and it was like, I lived a long way away, so instead of doing that, I just wrote games. Then I tried to plug a computer into a synthesizer, and I blew that up, and then over time, I worked in a lot in music technology, which I really loved. People talk all the time about, oh, am I going to lose my job if a robot comes in? But in reality, robots are actually here to free us up, to give us the life that we want.
Are you worried that soon I'll be interviewing Baxter instead of yourself about these type of things?
I'm looking forward to it. I look forward to it. I think it'd be fantastic.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And Baxter, thank you as well. If you want to say goodbye to our viewers. And you can see Baxter on Wednesday afternoon at the Sydney Opera House.
It is not a big whatever. He was not doing that,
It was
Paul.
a four-fingered wave.
That's right, yeah.
Don't put words in the robot's mouth, Paul.
That was something that my niece taught me. It was very, very funny.
What's that?
She taught me this great thing, which is